Hello, happy rising. So I am anxious to get out in my yard and oh my gosh, there's so much going on in my life. Um yeah, it's I can't even explain it. So I'm anxious to get out into my yard and start I have all this energy, I have all of this buzzing through me. I know I'm going to be able to accomplish something today. Um, and it's just this feeling like, okay, I gotta do what I promised, but not because like oh my gosh, I have to do it. Like it sucks or like I think anything bad's gonna happen if I don't do it. But I know that I want to go out and work in my yard, and I feel this immense amount of creativity and energy inside of me to accomplish some goals. Oop, burp. Some goals on my property, and I know it's there. I know that the answers are going to be there when I go outside, because if you follow my other stuff, you'll know that I'm trying to build like a retaining wall. I'm 5'2", 100, trying to lose 100 pounds, which I've already lost weight the past couple of months just being happy. I've lost like 20 pounds already, and I haven't even done like the main exercises or anything through my fitness trainer certificate. And then, of course, I have like hand issues from pinched nerves and things like that. And so I'm not really built to be a builder. I'm a gardener. I love plants. I love moseying through my property and having places that I can enjoy the permaculture and enjoy the land and nature and the critters. Um, but at this time, a lot of building needs to happen on my property. It was bare. If you watched my first walkthrough, you see pictures comparing it from then to now, which is 1 year. And it was totally bare. And not only was it bare, it wasn't a clean slate. It looks like it's a clean slate, but actually it was compacted, severely compacted, no organic matter, no topsoil, completely barren, and very, very compacted and full of rocks and all of that kind of stuff. And you can see that in the pictures. So actually, I had to open the earth up, allow the moisture and organic matter and the process of the seasons and the whole permaculture web of life process to take place. And now, of course, it's covered with the weeds, which are doing their jobs. And I only go out and cut invasives or just things that I don't really want where they're at. Um, and it is working. That's not exactly the point of why I turned the camera on. I turned the camera on because I made a commitment to um, spend the month of May reaching out to my collective, and I'm going to do it through the language that the spiritual language that works for me, which is cards, symbols, colors, and numbers. Um, I'm not really much of a talker. I mean, I am a talker. Like my grandma used to say, I would talk and from when I wake up until the moment I crashed at the end of the day. But what it is I'm not like an explainer, right? I just things come through, and it's not like planned what comes through, and that's been my whole life since I was little. When you think about the story that my grandmother would tell me. Um, Another something really interesting that happened was I think it was 2 days ago, me and Chelsea went off to take our bird to an aviary vet in Lakewood because he was injured. And while he was being treated, because it was going to take a few hours, we had gone and sat down and had some dinner. And during that, Chelsea mentioned that people are using ChatGPT to do like past life readings. And so we did our past life readings with ChatGPT. And of course, this is very interesting because you don't really tell it anything about yourself when you do it. And it was really just palm itching is one of my calling cards. Um, Anyway, so that's really interesting. What it makes me believe is exactly what I've been saying to people, is that human beings are evolving and technology is actually connected to us and it's part of our evolution. It's a tool just like any other tool that we create, but this tool we have created almost in our image. Cameras function like our eyes, computers function like our brain. It really is just technology and science and all of that. It doesn't, for people who are not into like spiritual stuff, but at the end of the day, spirit is the energy of all of these elements, and it's, you don't have to explain it. You never will be able to explain it until the day you die. You will never be able to prove it, make it make sense, nothing. The only way that you will experience it is by going within, as I've said, and as many of the mystics and shamans and gurus all say. If they tell you to do anything other than going within and feeling, then they are pointing you outside of yourself. And at that point, I would be wary, because it's not outside of you. It's not me. It's not your church pastor. It's not anything. It's whatever you're witnessing, you're observing in your reality, and then you go within and you feel, truly feel, you'll know the truth. You don't need anybody to explain it to you in Spanish and English and math and science and numbers. You know. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that at that. What I'm saying, I think the message came out. Okay, I'm not one to, I just turn the camera on and whatever comes through comes through, and I just want to get this message out, and then I want to go enjoy my yard. And for some reason, my experience is allowing me all of this time to enjoy my yard. I keep thinking I'm going to start this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday caregiving job, and every time I call them, it's still good. I'm still employed by them, but it's just not on the schedule yet for that one because of the other person. Like, everything is working out perfectly. I have no worries. I went and picked up a paycheck yesterday. I've picked up a paycheck before. I'm promoting my business, and I have 100% faith that whatever is meant to be for me, including the roof over my head, the lights on, the water, taking care of these animals, the resources that I require to keep this and steward this piece of land and live my life, I will innately, as the divine filled person, human that I am, I will have the answers each time when they step in front of me. So that is very, very difficult for the ego. The ego says, oh, maybe I should just go get a job at Taco Bell or Fred Meyer just to guarantee myself a small paycheck while I do the fun other things that I want to do with my life. And my reality is reflecting back to me that actually I do not. Hold on, Faye is barking, my mom's dog. Hush. Okay, let me get this back on. All right, I forgot what I was saying there. 8:47 and it was 8:47. That's so funny. Like, literally the timer was 8:47, but it's also 8:47 in the morning on my clock, like as soon as I sat down. So this is just a timer for how long I'm recording and talking is what I'm saying, not the clock. Anyway, a lot of this stuff is because I'm very open spiritually. So what I was saying about AI is that this World Wide Web, if you think about the circuits in our brain, you think about the roots under the earth of trees and the fungi and how everything on earth communicates to each other, and it doesn't speak English. Like, come on, people. Come on. The trees, they don't speak English, and they're geniuses. The birds, they don't speak English. They chirp. They don't speak any language. Okay, so speaking and forming sentences is not our first or real language. It was created. And what was it created? So that we could make sense to each other over time. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to connection. It's a pull or it's a resist, right? It's magnetic. It's pull or it pushes away. I'm not a scientist. I don't know what I'm saying here. The roots, they pull and they attract all the different fungi onto the root matter, and these trees, they spread for miles. Even there are systems that are spreading. I mean, I was just watching a forest appreciation like PBS thing, and it was talking about how one seed created this forest of poplars. One seed. And then it was all roots, and it's an entire forest, okay? So don't sit here and think that you're smarter than nature. You're just not. And neither am I. I'm just one little piece of nature with this human body, with my skin, with my hair, with my pores, with my circuits. And what runs all of it? Water, salt, electricity. Yes, electricity. So I don't know what I was just saying, and my ego keeps getting in the way, thinking that 11:22, as I was saying that, thinking that I'm supposed to be moving on or something. But then when I let my body just breathe and relax and allow, this information starts to come through. So for me personally, I don't really have any intention. Like, sure, I'll do a psychic reading for you. Like, I've done them for my friends and everything, but I don't intend for my channel, just so you know, to be like a tarot reading channel regarding all these things like astrology and what day of the month it is, 11:55. But I'm using this because this is the language that I have been teaching myself when it comes to experiencing my psychic awareness and experience. And I'm going to tell you, like I said, I've read the Bible, I've gone to all the different churches, I've gone to all the different Bible studies, I've asked all these questions, I've experienced all these things, I've gone through recovery, I've done the psychology route, the religious route. I love science, obsessed with science. I've done the scientific route. You don't have to believe a single thing that comes out of my mouth. And that's okay, because I'm actually not doing this to prove myself to anybody. I'm not doing anything in my life, any post on Facebook, any post on YouTube, anything on Instagram to prove that I'm worthy of being believed, of being paid for my services, of being listened to, of being somebody's friend. I'm not here to prove my worthiness, because I'm infinitely worthy. I'd be infinitely worthy if I couldn't even speak. I'd be infinitely worthy if I was blind, if I couldn't hear, if I couldn't work, if I had no money, if I was homeless. I would still be infinitely worthy. I would be infinitely worthy if I didn't know how to do these psychic readings, if I was just beginning, if I was young, if I was old. Yes. So I don't need to prove that my business is working. I don't need to prove that I'm following the Holy Spirit that you believe in. I don't need to prove that I'm a good person. I simply just am being. And and here I am. So come on, think about it. Like, really think about it, right? Don't think about it, actually. Don't think about it. Just feel it. Just like breathe and feel that. Feel that. Are you here because you think maybe you know me in my personal life and you're thinking, oh, she's going crazy, and let's see if she can prove to me that I should listen to her, believe her. Well, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to prove anything to you, but what will prove to itself is yourself, your spirit, your inner truth, and your connection with what is real and what resonates and what feels right for you and the journey that you're on. And I am here to do for anybody and everybody just my purpose, to truly love people, And true love does not push itself. It does not force itself. It does not, well, I don't know. It's in the Bible somewhere. Hold on. Let's see here. I need to look it up. I love the Bible. Okay. And Google. I mean, it's amazing. I can literally type without even spelling correctly. And the World Wide Web of our knowledge and understandings, our brains have been placed into an external system where we share the information. I mean, really think about that. That's our original state. That's the original state of a human being, of any animal, of any creature, is shared information. There's this thing, before I read this one, there's this thing called, it has to do with bees. Beehive communication. Something beehive communication. It's called something. Oh, come on. What is it called? Not the waggle dance. Additionally, transfer of foods. No, it is. I brought this up at my job, actually, when I was working over at Labor and Industries. It's a, it's a, yeah, a collective intelligence, hive mind. It's actually a thing. Oh, Jesus. Now it's taking me to group think. Well, that was, I was researching that stuff, and what is the communication called between bees? It's not dance communication. It's, I think it's really interesting that the internet is not giving me the answer that I want right away. I usually save this stuff. Right, okay. So bees communicate through a variety of methods, including pheromones, the waggle dance, vibrations, and visual cues like colors. Okay. Petal textures, what time of day it is, teller sisters. Also, all bees are females. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing that one thing, not honeybees. It doesn't have to be honeybees. That is so crazy. I cannot remember where I saw it, but I brought it up in, if anybody it's crazy because you know what? It's probably in my folder with stuff that I don't want to look at, which would be my old work stuff, because that was really freaking traumatic. So I don't really look at it. Um I don't know. Anyway, I brought it up at a meeting, trying to say that bees basically they communicate without any language, and it's a specific type of word, and it's kind of bugging me because Oh, this is good stuff right here. You guys got to understand how funny this is. Okay. Oh, come on. They do it via frequency. Wow. Quietness. Because Beehive AI, the future of life sciences supply chain. Wild. Bee colony optimization. This is wild because this was so readily available when I found it before, and now I'm getting all the weirdest results. And look, when I research 2144 as I'm saying this, when I research, I am a researcher. That's literally my job. That's literally what I do, and what I have done. And so for me to be able to type something up and literally the first and second page of Google isn't giving me the information, it's very, very suspicious to me because I'm getting like, oh my God, I can't even explain. Wow, I can't even explain because I know what it's like when I research stuff. It's not dance communication, it's a University of Delaware. Maybe they will have it. Anyway, I am super into this kind of stuff. So normally has a single queen and several hundred drones during spring. Oh, come on, come on. I feel like I'm almost getting there. Oh, pheromones serve as a social glue, unifying and helping to give individual identity to a bee colony. The queen substance is produced by the mandibular glands. This is, I'll have to, because I'm reading it, I'll have to add this um, in the notes down there. About 1 week after emerging. Oh, come on, come on, come on. You can read this whole thing. Bees are absolutely amazing. They're so amazing. But it's not giving me the just the one. It's like a collaborative, cooperative um colony type. Okay, bees organize and work together. I feel like I'm getting closer. Oh my God. Anyway, you know what? This must not be meant to be for me to tell you. But anyway, there is a very specific name for it. And 2440. Um, but I think that the whole reason it's not working is because of the numbers and the symbolism that I'm supposed to give you actually instead. But let's go back to true love. Because I feel, and I know this about myself and I know this about other people, is that we all want proof of everything before we do anything. And of course, that's not how faith works. And that's okay. You don't have to have faith. That's, I can't force that on anybody. And my whole point and another thing that's really important is taking things out of context, right? So, you want to understand the context of things before just applying it. But as I've read the whole Bible, you can read the whole Bible if you want, no problem. But this is the book of Corinthians, and what I'm trying to say is that trying to prove myself and my infinite worth, and that the way that I make decisions using my frequency and my energy instead of the programming that we get when we are born and we're vulnerable and we have to rely on others, our parents namely. And then, of course, we get wounds from not being taken care of properly, or having, their traumas and stuff and everything. And then we go to school and we learn that we have to be like everybody else, and that we're measured against everybody else. And then where our innate genius and talents and abilities when it comes to how we connect to nature and the earth and community and each other is used to in the past. Not the schools are doing it more now. Things are our culture and our society is changing, and there's no way to stop it because humans are evolving. But in the past, we went to school and we didn't really learn how to connect to nature and how to connect to ourselves and how to connect to other people. Education was specifically about, of course, math, reading, writing, and of course history. But there was obviously gaps in the education, because really the whole point was, of course, we want to teach people how to solve basic problems using math, and they need to be able to count, they need to be able to tell time. That is with everybody else's system, so that we all can communicate, and then they need to be able to write in the language and stuff like that. Okay, then they all need to be compared to each other and learn things that are mostly random, but really the most important part is the system, the bells, the programming of a schedule within you and things like that. I can't break down the entire system of the world and prove anything to anybody or you. So take what you get and then move, to the next bit of information. But come on. And then, so let's put that aside. And the whole point that I'm trying to make is that I'm going to read the 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7, which of course I prefer to read the entire book, or the entire chapter, if not the entire book, when I'm trying to understand what I'm being told to do. And then again, I go to the one that says it is the most proven scholarly version, instead of an interpreted, translated, and kind of changed just to follow with human evolution. No, the Bible is not being changed for human evolution. The Message, King James version, all these different versions, that is not to do with human evolution. That's to do with the evolution of language and the purposes of those who are interpreting it and manipulating it. You really want to make sure you're reading it from the very like I said, in my last video, the culture it's from, the area, the context of the entire document, oh my God. Okay, just go back to my other video and watch at some point during it. I explain the Bible. You'll see me with the blue if you want to skip through it. You'll see me flashing this one around while I explain what I'm trying to explain now, which I'm skipping so I can do my next thing. Anyway, I'm going to read the entire chapter. So, the excellence of love, 1 Corinthians 13. If I speak with the tongues of mankind and of angels, but do not have love, I have become a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a... Okay. We're on 1 Corinthians 13. And if you look in your normal one, this is the English Standard Version, and I'm reading the New American Standard Bible, which the New American Standard Bible is a more scholarly version where they basically do not try to change the words to make it make sense to any interpreter, but instead leave all words, even if it is a bit unusual and doesn't fully make sense. Because at the end of the day, you can't read the Bible without the Holy Spirit. There is literally, you will not understand it. None of it will make sense unless you have the Holy Spirit. And then you start to see it through a spiritual lens, and then you start to just laugh at any preacher, any pastor that tries to tell you anything. You're like, what are you trying to tell me? You're bullshit. Okay, anyway. Because I'm not trying to tell you anything. I'll literally just read it and okay. I just looked at spiritual gifts. Okay, so I'm going to read 12 and 13. And I think I'll probably not do cards. Well, I might do a couple of cards. We'll see. So now concerning spiritual gifts. So I have to go to 13. I really did not expect this, to be honest. We'll go 12. Okay, now concerning spiritual gifts, brothers and sisters, I do not want you to be unaware. And the English Standard Version says, now concerning spiritual gifts. So the nice thing about this one is it does have footnotes, and at the bottom it does have like a more interpretation of like the original language as closely as they can get without changing it. So it says, now concerning, footnote number 6, the expression now concerning introduces a reply to a question in the Corinthians letter C7:1. Okay, so then we would have to go just for two words, now concerning. It was translated. It has a footnote, 2 words, now concerning, and it tells you to go further back to 7:11 here in the book. Okay, we go 7:11. I'm tripping out right now. But if she does, she should remain unmarried or else be reconciled to her husband, and the husband should not divorce his wife. Okay, so here we go. Now concerning, footnote 6, the expression now concerning introduces a reply to a question in the Corinthians letter C7:11. And then 7:11 gives me one sentence, half a sentence, and then I would have to read the entire chapter 7, which then would need to be in context with the entire book of 1 Corinthians, which then would need to be in the context of the entire part of the New Testament. I mean, come on, people. You cannot take one scripture out of here and think that because of what it says in English, you all of a sudden have the answer and know what is right or wrong in humanity and in people. Yeah, 3:4:3:3 as I said that. Okay, so anyway, brothers, and this says brothers, right? The original word was brothers and sisters. It meant something else, right? It wasn't just brothers. So here we have all masculine language, but it wasn't all masculine language according to the scholarly version New American Standard Bible. I do not want you to be unaware. I do not want you to be uninformed. Okay, this says uninformed, informed. Okay, informed. The scholarly version says unaware. These are very subtle differences that you need to pay attention to if you're going to use the Bible to make any decisions with who you interact with, how you treat people, what you say, what you do. What? Okay. Two completely different words. And then, okay, I'm not going to go back over a million times. You know that when you were pagans, you were led astray to mute idols, comma, however you were led. Okay, let's see what it says here. 2, you know that when you were, footnote, the literal Gentiles, i.e., mainly Greeks and Romans, traditionally polytheistic. It says right here, you know that when you were pagans, and the word pagans was translated, and really it was a describing of a community that they were describing here. It's not even the word pagans. Gentiles, i.e., mainly Greeks and Romans, right? Because this is who they were trying to get their religion or their understanding of the spiritual awakening to make sense. We got Greeks and Romans, and if you think about the Greek gods and the Roman gods and all of that, traditionally polytheistic, comma, you were led, okay? So we already were, when you were, 6 words, and then you have a literal explanation that that's not exactly the word, but and then here it doesn't even have that. So if you were reading this Bible, you would think, oh, pagans, it must have definitely been directly translated. It totally meant the word pagan as we understand it. But as you can see, that wasn't the word. You were and then there's no comma. But here in the original, there's a comma. So there's some sort of conscious thought break in between describing when you were a certain way, comma, you were led. And here it says, you know that when you were pagans, you were led astray to mute idols. Come on. Okay, I'm going to try to read it according to my education. You know that when you were pagans, Gentiles, cut off mainly Greeks and Romans, traditionally polytheistic, you were led astray or away. Astray and away are 2 different words. Come on, people. To the mute idols. However you were led. It's however you were led, not however, comma, you were led. Okay, the difference in that right at the end, hold on. You were led astray to mute idols, comma, however you were led. It's not, well, you were led, like, yes, you were being led anyway, right? No, it's however you were led. How is the way that you were being led? There's subtle differences here. You got to be careful here. Okay. Now, there are varieties of, I made my point. I'm not going to read it from this one. You can yourself compare the language, but that's kind of how I've read the Bible for 15, 16 years. Now, there are varieties of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are varieties of ministries and the same Lord. There are varieties of effects, but the same God who works in all things in all persons. But to each one is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. I'm telling you, the other Bible doesn't say that. For to one is given the word of wisdom through the Spirit, and to another the word of knowledge according to the same Spirit. And there's a semicolon. So let me read that again. For to one is given the word of wisdom through the Spirit, and to another the word of knowledge according to the same Spirit. To another faith. Faith has something. Or in. So I'm going to say to another faith by. They put the word by, and they indicate that the descriptor that it was translated from, it could also be in, right? To another faith in the same Spirit. To another by the same Spirit. Or to another faith by the same Spirit. And to another gifts of healing, has a note. Literal healings. Okay? There's a difference. Healing says, I do unto you. Heal. Healings means I have healings. I've been healed. H, by or in the one Spirit. Big difference. This is pointing to inside of you. It's pointing to, I was intending to be over here with cards. Okay, I do what I do. 41, 42, 41, 43. Okay. By the one Spirit, and to another the affecting effects. Okay, think about this. Affecting is an action on to the outside. Effects could be anything. Effects could just be that it is being, and therefore it affects where it is being. Affecting is an action. Affecting of miracles or works of power. And to another prophecy, and to another the distinguishing of spirits. Literal distinguishings. Distinguishing of spirits or distinguishings of spirits. If you study language and the root of language, you start to realize that these are subtle changes that make a huge difference in the impact of what is being said. To another various kinds of tongues, and to another the interpretation of tongues. But one and the same Spirit works all these things, distributing to each one individually just as He wills. No. Wills, okay, or intends. You think, if you don't really do a lot of that, you think it's just like a different version of the same word. No, it is not. What is that thing? Is it thesaurus, where you find words that are exactly the same? Thesaurus. Synonyms and antonyms. I think it's synonym. It's not a synonym. Okay, people? It's not. Okay. But one and the same Spirit works all these things, distributing to each one individually just as He intends. Not He, person. Not He, a person outside of you, intending on something for you to have. No. Distributing, it's one Spirit. And it works in all of us, distributing to each one individually as the individual intends. You will know within you what your gifts are. You're one spirit experiencing talents, experiencing earth, experiencing life, and you will know your spiritual gift. Your pastor doesn't tell you that you can speak in tongues. Your community leader doesn't tell you that you have the spirit of wisdom, knowledge, faith, healings within yourself, not healing others, okay? In the spirit, it's just as the individual, he is you, inside of you, intends. You know what God wants to use your body for because you feel it with a frequency. You don't need someone else to tell you, oh, you were meant to be a writer. Or, oh, yes, you should really sit down and write that book because I, on the outside of you, think that God, what? Said so? Sure, we all have our opinions. There's a lot of things I think other people should be doing or other people are good at. Yes, okay, I think you get that point. So now with that, I'm going to go to the part that I was actually here to tell you, which was 13, because this is getting pretty long. The only thing I came here to say was I was going to pull a couple of cards, but I'm doing this instead. 1 Corinthians 13, and I'm going to read it without all the footnotes and everything. I'm just going to read it at the most English, most closely scholarly version, and the spirit will have to speak through because I don't know how much more explaining I can do on because I need some water and shit. Okay. If I speak with the tongues of mankind, so this is the excellence of love, and you'll notice that it's actually all an internal discussion. It's not a you. It's not telling you what to do. It's actually all a mental and internal arrangement based on the chapter I just started, 12, about you intending your own spiritual gifts as the one spirit that is driving every human being to also be within and understand what God is telling them within. Anyway, if I speak with the tongues of mankind and of angels, but do not have love, I have become a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and know all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. And if I give away all my possessions to charity, and if I surrender my body so that I may glory, but do not have love, it does me no good. Love is patient. Love is kind. It is not jealous. Love does not brag. It is not arrogant. It does not act disgracefully. It does not seek its own benefit. It is not provoked, does not keep an account of wrong suffered. It does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth. It keeps every confidence. It believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails, but if there are gifts of prophecy, they will be done away with. If there are tongues, they will cease. If there is knowledge, it will be done away with. For we know in part and prophesy in part, but when the perfect comes, the partial will be done away with. When I was a child, I used to speak like a child, think like a child, reason like a child. When I became a man, I did away with childish things. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I know fully. Just as I also have been fully known. Know thyself. But now faith, hope, and love remain. These three, But the greatest of these is love. Oh. Okay, it's not quite an hour, so I have a little bit more time. And just for funsies, I want to pull the Believe in Your Own Magic. And then I think, as long as everything flows, bitch fire, stand up for yourself. That's what I've been doing. And then I'm thinking I'll probably want a mystical shaman as well. I like to really mix it up because, okay. Lighthouse, don't doubt your worth. I am always enough. 20. 20. This could have something to do with being with other people, because we're the 1 and the 0, and 2 is also the number of the builder. It also often represents love to me, the number 2, and also 143. Phoenix, how's that for happily ever after? And the number 9 is always the number of completion. So it could be that, you know, at some point I don't want to say it, but yeah, you burn the information, right? It has to pass the test, the fire test. So that's all within each individual, right? So the information has to pass the test. You got to put it through fire. Not, you don't have to go through fire. The information that is coming in that you focus on has to go through fire in order to complete cycles, transmute the energy. And look, Phoenix rising from the ashes right there. Okay. Gold. You don't need someone else to fix you. And again, 3 and 6 and it's 9. It's the number of completion. It's the number of ending of a cycle. So yeah, we are gold. This reading is so amazing. So we have Lighthouse, Phoenix, and gold. All right, let me get one. The Mystical Shaman deck I love so much. It's very gorgeous artwork. And we'll see what I can get. Can barely hold on to the cards. I'm just vibrating with energy. It's really interesting. I know this is the one. Beauty Way. I love this card. And for the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck, I read this. I know what this represents. This represents basically what we're all saying. All of us, Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, witches, New Age, all the different places, science, math, psychology. It's all pointing to the same thing. This perfect pattern, the perfect pattern in life. The perfect life pattern is not what feels horrible, what holds you down, what takes your energy, what drains you, what makes you tired, what makes you feel sick all the time, what confuses you, what creates glitches in your brain and you traumatize and you think about all the time. That's not the beauty way. That's not the way to the perfect life pattern. Nature, and we are part of nature, has a rhythm, a cycle, and a perfect frequency and a perfect life. It does, and everything is provided. And so that's all I'm going to say about how I interpret this. It's all about all faiths, all religion, all beliefs, all paths. If you're really seeking the truth, it's going to point to the same thing, which is within you, feel and speak the real language, not the language of frequency and energy, the language of science, the language of numbers and colors and the world around you. Observation. Speak the language of observation. Observe. And you don't have, just like this said in what I read to you, you don't have to, right here, keeps every confidence and believes in all things, hopes in all things, and endures all things. There's no reason to say, oh, that religion is the wrong one and this one's the right one. And this particular leader who interpreted it and explained it to me and told me what to do is the right one. That's what's going to save me. That's what's going to give me a beautiful life. That's what's going to help pay my bills and put food in my stomach and keep me alive. And then when I die, that's what's going to also keep me alive then. For some reason, all of us believe in these religions that we're going to live forever, but then we don't recognize the fact that, well, we're doing it then right here, right now. And this is part of the experience. With all of that said, I do like to read what the artist said because I feel like Alberto Villoldo, Colette Baron Reed, and Marcela Lobos, illustrated by Gina Della Gratalgia, and it's the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck. So I highly recommend you buy it if you love cards, oracle cards. I love this book so much, and the art, and also their interpretations, because, like, for example, I got this tarot deck from Spencer's and I love it. It's the Disney Hocus Pocus one, but I had to basically rewrite the interpretations myself, and then like I do with all of my work, all of my decks, I do practice with it constantly until I get a similar message for every card, because then I know that it's connected with my frequency. But yeah, I had to cross some out and like switch it up and be like, that's not really what that means to me. That's basically what I did. So with that being said, there's some that when they provide the description, I feel very, very connected to, and this is one of the only ones out of all of my cards. The Believe in Your Own Magic, I like to read that one too, but I have my own. I really go with the Oracle. I get my own. Number 4. 4 is the structure. It's the square. It's the rectangle. It's all 4 sides. It's balance. It's support. It's stability. It's yeah. I don't know what else to say. It's all of that. Angel number 4, I can look up for Sacred Scribes. Joanne, Sacred Scribes. I love her work. Her angel number meanings are pretty much all I use, because really what I do is intuitively, whatever stands out in her blog, when I'm doing a reading, I know what parts are resonating for that particular reading, if that makes sense. So number 4, organization, determination, conservatism, inner wisdom, self-control, passion. And also she mentions that it encourages harmonious work, harmonious and diligent work. That's one really important thing, is we're all meant to work. We all want to work. You're going to want to work. You want to create. You want to help. I'm sure of it. Humans and all animals really work. It's just, is the work fitting morals, values? Does it help society and the communities and stuff like that? Like, we will have a drive, and I just had one of those burp things. we have a drive to work. There's definitely, it's not about being lazy, but it's also about not giving your energy away to the wrong things. Because we all have the same 8 hours in a day. And or 8 hours in a day. We all have the same 24 hours in each day, I guess, the way that time works. But we really all have our lives. It's our lives. It's your life. Okay. The essence, the beauty way is both a path you travel on and a daily practice. The invitation. The beauty way invites you to create beauty in your life and to recognize the beauty inside yourself and in others. The medicine. Stop trying to fix relationships that you believe are broken. Recognize that things are exactly as they need to be in this moment and acknowledge the inherent beauty in that. And then it says also, do not engage in gossip about darkness and flaws of others. Be careful not to be seduced by the superficial beauty of a project or relationship. I wonder if there was another one that I was thinking of. And I got a text. 101. And it's somebody I was very much hoping to hear from about getting involved in the community. That's very nice. Okay. I think I'm going to leave this at that. Wow, it's still 101. Seemed like that took longer than the conversation at the beginning of this video. I hope this was helpful, and I'm very excited to meet the people and to live my life and share whatever I come to share. And I'm excited to get out onto my property today and just see what the day holds and what is resonating and what is calling me today. And for some reason, every day I'm still alive and I'm still okay. It's amazing. All right, take care. Bye.